Hey there! Welcome back to Cities in a Blink, where we uncover the stories behind the world's cities one blink at a time. This is How Did That City Become the Capital? Our journey through the political hearts of nations. Today, we're heading to one of the most complicated capital stories in the world, Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Why do these two cities appear together when people talk about Israel's capital story? This episode is not about deciding the conflict. This story is about understanding how history, religion, war, and modern state building created a capital story unlike almost any other. Let's begin with Jerusalem. Long before the modern state of Israel existed, Jerusalem was already one of the most important cities in world history. For Jews, Christians, and Muslims, the city carried sacred meaning far beyond politics. It was a city of memory, faith, empire, and identity. This was Jerusalem, an ancient hill city, a sacred city, and a symbol claimed by different peoples across centuries, all living inside the same stone walls. That is what made Jerusalem powerful. But it is also what made it difficult. A modern capital needs government offices, ministries, planning, transport, and international recognition. Jerusalem had something deeper. It had meaning. And meaning can unite people, but it can also make every decision more contested. Now let's move to the coast. Tel Aviv's story begins much later. In 1909, a group of Jewish families founded a new neighborhood on the sand dunes north of Jaffa. It was not an ancient holy city. It was a modern project built with new streets, schools, institutions, businesses, and ideas. While Jerusalem carried the weight of thousands of years, Tel Aviv carried the momentum of the 20th century. Jerusalem represented memory, faith, and historical identity. Tel Aviv represented movement, migration, culture, commerce, and the building of a modern society. Then came World War I. The Ottoman Empire collapsed, and Britain took control of Palestine under a mandate system. Jerusalem became the administrative center during the British Mandate because it was already the most symbolically important city in the land. But Tel Aviv was growing quickly. By the 1930s and 1940s, it had become a center of Jewish urban life, with newspapers, theaters, businesses, political organizations, and a population looking toward the future. Jerusalem was the historic and spiritual heart. Tel Aviv was the modern engine. Then came 1947. The United Nations proposed a partition plan for Palestine. The plan called for separate Jewish and Arab states, while Jerusalem was supposed to receive a special international status because of its religious importance. But the plan did not bring peace. Tensions turned into war, and the question of Jerusalem became even more difficult. Then came May 1948. As the British Mandate ended, Israel declared independence. But the declaration did not happen in Jerusalem. It happened in Tel Aviv. Inside the Tel Aviv Museum on Rothschild Boulevard, David Ben-Gurion proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel. That moment explains why Tel Aviv matters in this capital story. Jerusalem was the city of ancient longing, but Tel Aviv was where the modern state was born. It had the leadership, institutions, safer coastal location, and political infrastructure needed at that moment. For Israelis, 1948 became the year of independence. For Palestinians, the same war became the Nakba, the catastrophe when hundreds of thousands were displaced and Palestinian society was shattered. That is why this capital story cannot be told as a simple celebration of one city. The birth of one state also became the beginning of another people's long displacement and unresolved political struggle. After the 1948 war, Jerusalem was divided. West Jerusalem came under Israeli control, while East Jerusalem, including the Old City, came under Jordanian control. For Israel, West Jerusalem became the political center. Government offices moved there, and the Knesset eventually sat there. But internationally, Jerusalem's status remained disputed. Many countries did not treat Jerusalem like a normal capital because the final status of the city had not been resolved. This is where Tel Aviv remained important. Even as Israel placed its main government institutions in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv continued to function as the country's economic, cultural, and diplomatic-facing center. It had the business networks, universities, media, cities. It had the business network, international connections, and coastal openness that made it Israel's modern urban face. So Israel's capital story split into two layers. Jerusalem became the declared political and historical capital. Tel Aviv remained the modern city where much of the country's global image, economy, and daily urban energy continued to grow. Then came 1967. During the Six-Day War, Israel captured East Jerusalem from Jordan along with the West Bank and other territories. For Israel, this brought the city under one municipal control and gave Israelis access to the Old City and its holy sites. For Palestinians, it deepened the loss of East Jerusalem, which they see as central to their national future. From that moment, Jerusalem became even more contested. Israel saw a reunited Jerusalem as its capital. Palestinians saw East Jerusalem as occupied territory and as the hoped-for capital of a future Palestinian state. Much of the international community continued to treat Jerusalem's final status as something that should be settled through negotiation. Then came 1980. Israel passed a basic law declaring Jerusalem complete and united as its capital. But the United Nations Security Council rejected that move internationally and called on countries not to recognized changes to the city's status. That is why Jerusalem and Tel Aviv still appear together in the capital story today. On the Israeli side, Jerusalem is the declared capital and the seat of major national institutions. But because Jerusalem's status remains internationally disputed, Tel Aviv has continued to play an unusually large role in diplomacy, business, technology, media, and global connection. One city carries the ancient and political claim. The other carries much of the modern urban rhythm. Jerusalem became central because of history, faith, and national identity. Tel Aviv became central because the modern state was organized, declared, and connected to the world from the coast. If you visit Jerusalem today, the Old City, the holy sites, the Knesset, and the government district show why the city is more than a capital. It is a symbol that different peoples understand in deeply different ways. If you visit Tel Aviv, Rothschild Boulevard, Independence Hall, the Bauhaus streets, the beaches, and nearby Jaffa show why the city became Israel's modern stage to the world. Amman became a capital because a young state needed balance. Beirut became a capital because a new country needed a Mediterranean gateway. But Jerusalem and Tel Aviv tell a different kind of story. Here, the question is not only why one city became the capital. It is why one country's capital story still moves between an ancient sacred city and a modern coastal city. One holds the weight of history. The other carries the pulse of modern life. If you enjoy discovering cities and the stories behind them, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more journeys around the world. Next up, we're heading to Riyadh, the desert city that became the heart of modern Saudi Arabia. Thanks for watching Cities in a Blink, where stories of cities come alive, one blink at a time.